Thank you, everyone, for being here. And as Nate said, on short notice, I appreciate you making time out of your busy day to join us. So this morning, I met with Coach Walker and informed him that I had made a decision that we were going to make a change in the leadership of our men's basketball program. It's not a decision that I came to quickly or lightly, but after a thorough A to Z examination of the program as it stands today and the trajectory for which it's headed. I thank Coach Walker for his 8 years of service to UA Little Rock. I respect Darrell and appreciate his efforts and wish him, Lisa, and their family nothing but good things. After I met with Coach Walker, I visited with the coaching staff for about 30 minutes and then had a very productive meeting with our men's basketball team that lasted about 45 minutes. All 15 members of the team were present at that meeting. I asked them what they thought was working in our program and what wasn't. I asked them what they wanted to see out of their next head coach and received a lot of really thoughtful and insightful feedback. I'm glad we had a chance to visit with them in a meaningful way. I gave each one of them my mobile phone number at the end of that meeting, and I encouraged them to set up some time to come by and see me as we get things underway. So effective immediately, we'll launch a national search to find our next basketball coach. Now that begs the question, what are we looking for? Well, I'll place a high priority on identifying someone who shares our values, who prioritizes developing relationships, deep, meaningful relationships with their players, someone who looks to have student athletes excel in the classroom. Someone, and I can't underscore this point enough, someone who will be active and engaged in Little Rock and the Central Arkansas community. And finally, it goes without saying, someone who's achieved elite level success as either a head or assistant coach. So as we move things forward with the program, my expectations for Little Rock basketball are pretty simple. We want to develop young people as they grow, both personally and academically. We want our student athletes to graduate with meaningful degrees and go on to become pillars of the communities in which they live and work. And we want to relentlessly pursue on-court competitive excellence. Now for us, that means competing annually for conference championships in the new United Athletic Conference, which we'll join on July 1st, and positioning ourselves to be able to compete in the NCAA tournament. I feel confident having these high expectations based on the fact that basketball matters here at Little Rock. And I say that for a host of reasons. We far and away have the best facility, both in our current league and the one we're heading to. We've invested in our coaching staff and operations at a level that far exceeds our peers. And with the help of Trojan Nation and many key supporters, we've been able to embrace the NIL and revenue sharing era of college athletics and invest in the development of an elite on-court roster. I know that our next head coach will come into a situation where they can be successful right away. So in closing, before I take your questions, as I mentioned, the search is already underway to identify our next head coach. We'll work with urgency to bring a swift conclusion to the search while ensuring that we take the appropriate time to flesh out all viable candidates and make the best choice. And I'll leave you that my pledge to our supporters, to Trojan Nation, is that we'll hire a coach that our university, or the capital city of Little Rock, and the entire state can most certainly be proud of. With that, I'll take your questions.
Frank, will this search be conducted in-house, or will this involve an outside consulting service?
Yeah, we'll look to use the help of a search firm to identify top candidates.
My question would be, why now? Why did you feel like this was a pertinent move to make at this stage?
Sure. Well, in terms of the timing and in terms of why now as opposed to, say next week, the transfer portal is about to be open, right, the day after the national title game, and let's face it, we know that it's actually open right now. So being able to get out in front and have someone in place that can go evaluate our current roster, look to build and recruit a new roster was imperative. Jack, in terms of your question about at this point in time, I think it was sort of a a realization that I came to over time, taking a look at where we are, taking a look and talking to folks in the community. I got the sense that it was time for a change. From a competitive standpoint, we haven't been where we've wanted. And I think that this is a place where you can achieve sustained competitive success. It doesn't need to be a once in an every while thing. It needs to be an annual thing, and I think we have the job in place to do that.
You talk about making comprehensive changes to the program as a whole, is what you said in the statement. What are some of the other areas, not necessarily on the court, that you feel like this program needs to take forward steps in to be competitive at the level that you want to be competitive at?
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, we're there in a lot of places. Now taking those ingredients and putting them to best use is critical. Again, you look at this facility, the Stevens family made an investment a little over 20 years ago that still has us positioned as one of the best programs in our peer from a facility perspective. And of course, as you heard last fall, we've got plans to do even more with it. You look at what we've been able to do through the generosity of our donors and investing in our roster. That's critical. Now you look at the landscape of college athletics, being able to go to market to compensate student athletes to be here that are going to compete at the highest level. It's never been more important. We have that to do. We've invested through being able to go out and have more home games in the future. We've looked at our operations, how we travel, some of the little things that all add up to be bigger things. So right now, I view my job as to tear down any roadblock that's in place to success, and I think we've got all the pins lined up. We just need to knock them down.
Is the priority for the next coach player development and culture, or is it more so about recruiting the best talent to win right now?
Well, I think it's really everything, right? It's hard to identify just one item. Your head coach is really the CEO of your basketball program, and for me that stands for the chief everything officer, right? So in terms of being an elite level recruiter, being able to go out and secure the talent that's necessary to win. Being a relational person, developing relationships not only within your roster, but also being able to develop a deep rapport with the community. I think we've seen it at points in time. This is a community that loves basketball, that loves the Trojans. So having somebody that's willing and able to be out in the community and developing those relationships, not just on an occasional basis, but on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis is imperative. So that's certainly something I'll look for when we evaluate the field.
How was that meeting with the players? What was their kind of general reaction? And when you asked them what they're looking for in a new coach, what did they tell you?
It was good. We pulled it together on short notice, right? So hopefully we didn't pull anyone out of class to join us in the locker room. But it was good. They listened. They were attentive. Heads up and leaning forward. I think they recognize that this is a group that can be really, really successful. That has all the pieces in place, and they shared some things, and I'm going to keep that in the locker room as the meeting actually took place in the locker room. I'm going to keep that there, but they had some really thoughtful insights on whether it's the day-to-day or more big picture on what they feel could help them push them to a higher level of success. I was appreciative for that, and I've already had a couple of them reach out to me about coming to visit one-on-one.
Frank, there are a lot of people, who probably see this and say that it's, unfair given, what's happened the last two seasons with the team and injuries. How much did that, factor into your decision, and what were those conversations like with Walker and as well as the players as it relates to, some of these injury-riddled seasons they've been having that's
Sure.
affecting the team's success?
Sure. What I try to do in evaluating this sort of situation is not be subject to recency bias, and I know that's hard to do, right? You look at it. You had a good month. You had a bad month. You had a good season. You had a bad season. But really try to take a look at the overall body of work. And as I evaluated that over time and saw where, hey, we certainly had some seasons that we performed at a high level. We just weren't quite able to sustain the type of consistency that I think we have the resources in place to. I looked at some of that inconsistency and where we were headed from a trajectory standpoint. I felt like it was the right time to make a change. I think that the program will benefit from a breath of fresh air, from a new perspective. But I say that meanwhile having all the respect in the world for Coach Walker and the job he's done. I certainly appreciate that this year it was a rash of injuries unlike I've ever seen, and I've been in this business for nearly 30 years. So we did our best to persevere, but really tried to take a look at the full body of work and make an evaluation based on it.
With new coaches comes a new identity. What type of identity are you looking to build here at Euler with the basketball program?
Well, we shared some of the things here during my comments, but I think the idea that from a coaching staff, hey, we're relentless, right? We're relentless on the recruiting trail in terms of securing talent. We're relentless on the court in terms of the style we play on either end of the floor. Really being aggressive and relentless in that regard. I think in terms of style of play, that'll depend in large part on who we wind up bringing in. But the great thing I can tell you, and just in the last several hours since this news became public, we've had incredible interest from around the basketball industry, whether it's the college space or professional basketball, individuals who are sitting head coaches, who have been head coaches, who have taken teams, in some cases multiple teams, to the NCAA tournament. They recognize that this is an incredible opportunity here, and I'm very optimistic and confident we're going to have a great leader come in here to take the helm of our program.
Frank, on the NIL front and on the revenue sharing front, what are some of the things being done here at this level to ensure that whoever comes in is going to have the most resources possible to attract the best players possible?
Well, first and foremost, let me say that it's a testament to our donors and our support base, that they not only recognize that this is the trend, but we're willing to get on board and support it. Now, I understand for some who may be a little bit more traditional or old school, it might take a little bit of time to get up next to. I understand that. But they recognize that in order to be successful, we have to be elite in that area and have embraced it. So we're going to continue what we do on a fundraising perspective to keep those key folks engaged and let them know that they're a big part of the success that we have. Likewise, we have to continue to be enterprising and engaging in finding new ways to generate revenue, whether that's through having outside events at the Stevens Centers like concerts and other type of events, whether it's developing new revenue sources. We saw at our sister campus across the state, a major announcement not only about naming rights on a facility, but uniform patches. Those are all ways that are now there for us to be able to generate incremental revenue, and for us to be able to invest back into our program. So we're excited about that.
Talking about success needing to be an annual thing, not every once in a while. What is the bar as far as you're concerned for success with Little Rock basketball?
Well, as I shared, I think the idea that we're competing for conference championships every year. You look at the landscape of our new league, and I know all of us, and myself included, are kind of getting familiar with who our competition is. But you look at every measurable area where you can invest, whether it's into the coaching staff, into the roster, the type of facility and the plans we have for it. If we're not the top, we're right there. So I think that investment and results generally tend to follow one another. It's not realistic to invest down here and expect to compete up here. Maybe every once in a while you catch lightning in a bottle, but that's probably going to be very challenging to sustain. So right now our investment is at a high level. That's why I feel confident and that our expectations are justified, and finding the right coach who embraces that, who wants that level of expectation and that accountability to come in to say, we're investing a lot in Trojan basketball, and we think our name should be at the top of the standings year in, year out.
With the transfer portal pretty much underway and how college is going right now, how important is it to kind of move swiftly to find a coach to stabilize a roster?
Critical, imperative. That's why I thought here as our season ended, late Wednesday night, being in a position to make this decision and the move and get the search underway was critical. It's a fast moving game, and being able to move with speed and move with resources is imperative. We have resources to move with. Now we need to move with speed to find the right person to charter them.
Anybody else? All right. Would anybody like to do one-on-one interviews or anything? Everybody got, okay.
Great. Thanks, everybody. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
you
you.
coming.